A season of heartbreak, history, triumph. It all culminates tonight from Mohegan Sun Arena in the Big East Tournament Final between our top two seeds in a top 10 showdown between UConn and Villanova for the tournament championship. These two teams had different roads to get here. UConn rolled through their first two rounds, winning by a combined total of 59 points. Meanwhile, for Villanova, two nail-biting wins by a combined 3 points to get to the championship game. Hello again, everybody. Matt Schumacher, Sarah Kustok with you. We'll be joined by Kim Adams in just a moment. This is a rematch from last year's championship, a rematch of two games that were decided by single digits in the regular season, but it's also a rematch of two teams with some superstars on the floor tonight. You're looking at two of the best players in the country. Let's take the matchup within the matchup and start with Aaliyah Edwards, because she is a force on the inside, and you're going to see how she's able to score in so many different ways. Back to the basket, put it on the floor. She's aggressive. She understands how to use her body and angles. And of course, when it comes to Edwards, she continues to get better each and every year. The Big East most improved player this season. Of course, Maddie Segrist leading the country in scoring. Big East all-time leading scorer. And you can see why, because she understands how to read a defense, get to any spot she wants to on the floor, get to the rack, mid-range game, stretch you out from three. She is an individual that UConn will have to have all eyes on and attention and talk, and a lot of different coverages happening. And both were huge in last night's wins to get them to this point. Maddie Segrist had 37 points. The rest of the team had 26. Meanwhile, Aaliyah Edwards was one of three players for UConn to have a double-double. Expect big nights from these two stars again tonight in the Big East Tournament Final. A rematch of last year's championship and a showdown between two of the top teams in the country. It all comes up next on FS1. It is a packed house tonight as tip-off in the Big East Tournament Championship is just around the corner as we welcome you back inside Mohegan Sun Arena and throw it to the third member of our team tonight, Kim Adams.
Thanks so much, Matt. Well, Villanova has been red hot coming into this Big East Championship game. They have won 19 of their last 21 games, but those two losses, both to the UConn Huskies, both by single digits, and Denise Dillon has been impressed with the growth of her team in terms of finding ways to win. It's something they've done in the first two games of this Big East tournament where they've won by a combined 3 points, and they're looking to do that here tonight. And a big message from Denise to her team, Matt: be comfortable with being uncomfortable.
She told us, Kim Adams, that UConn takes you out of your comfort. They force you to be uncomfortable. A great message and great stuff as always from Kim Adams. As we take a look at tonight's starting lineups brought to you by Jeep, there's only one. Villanova has had the same starting five now for all 34 games this season. Meanwhile, UConn has had to go with 6 different starting lineups this year due to all the injuries. But tonight, Sarah, their 4th time with 10 active players. There's just something a little bit different about this UConn team come March at full strength. There is a familiarity at this time of the year for UConn. They've been here before, and every player that puts on a UConn uniform understands that type of pedigree. But, you know, when you talk about what Kim was saying with Denise Dillon, Villanova, they've got a little bit more experience. They were here last season, and they have come ready. Some of those gritty wins that they have had to pull out throughout the early part of this tournament can serve them well, because they've got a lot of confidence coming into this one. And here we go. The 2023 Big East Women's Basketball Tournament title game is underway. And Lopez Seneschal gets us started with a baseline jumper. Calmness. Lou Lopez Seneschal has been a model of consistency for this Huskies team, and you see it right there out of the gates. First play for her. 14 points in both of the opening round games for UConn, and Dowsey goes right back with the response. Excellent flip, beautiful bounce pass by Olsen, and that's going to be something, negotiating those type of ball screens for UConn. Villanova will continue to cut and move hard. Inside to Griffin. And the rebound, Maddie Siegrist, the back-to-back Big East Player of the Year. Lucy Olson runs the point for Villanova. And here is Nika Mule for UConn, the back-to-back Big East Defensive Player of the Year. Had it picked off by Olson. Dowsey's 2 for 2.
Dowsey may only be a sophomore, but she's stepping into those type of shots where she faces up against you.
Well, so many coaches have told us UConn is just different in March. So we asked Gino, why is this team different? And he said, guys, I don't know exactly what it is, but our team thrives on where our confidence level is when the calendar turns to March. And Denise Dillon echoed those sentiments, saying UConn in March is a different program.
27 conference tournament titles can help that.
That'll give you a little bit of confidence. How about 14 straight trips to the Final Four? Denise Dillon, as Kim mentioned, said to her team after shoot-around, get comfortable being uncomfortable tonight. And she also told us the key is those effort areas. 50-50 balls, rebounds, and defensive intensity.
Take away some of those easy baskets for UConn. Keep them off the free throw line. Second chance opportunities, points off turnovers. Those are integral when you're trying to beat a Husky team.
Siegrist. And the rebound, Dowsey. Shot clock did not reset. Mullen a 3. Dowsey again. A lot of looks on that possession. Mule all the way to the cup with the left hand.
That's an excellent take by Mule. You have 3 blue jerseys in the paint, and I think they were expecting her to pass and kick out, and instead she had a clear opening.
Coming off her second double-double of the season, at 10 points, 11 assists in the win against Marquette in the semifinal. Olsen with a step back.
For as much focus is on Maddie Siegrist, it's the others that are going to have to come to the plate, fill some of those gaps, and make sure they are producing. And Lucy Olsen's doing that early on.
Great backdoor cut. Lopez Seneschal found by the 6'5" transfer, Dorka Juhas.
When you think about Dorka, you think about her points, the rebounding. She's averaging over 3 assists per game this season.
Gino Auriemma said the first half for Dorka Juhas against Marquette was the best he has seen her play in a UConn uniform. She had 9 points and 9 rebounds and finished with a double-double. That foul against Villanova.
And we've talked a lot about the resiliency of this UConn group with different lineups in different combinations because of injuries, because of individuals being in and out, and that affects you. And Dorka Juhas was one of those players missing some time for a variety of reasons, hampered by an ankle injury early.
And Lopez Seneschal draws a foul on Bella Runyon, and it's of the shooting variety.
So
third foul on Villanova.
What we talked about, Matt, just trying to eliminate some of the areas that UConn can put points on the board, like free throw shooting, like the rebounding factor. That was big in the most recent meeting between Villanova and UConn.
UConn was plus 22 on the glass in their second meeting back in February. It was a highly touted matchup, sold out Finneran Pavilion on the campus of Villanova University, and UConn got it done with 6 players, beating a top 15 Villanova side.
I'll tell you what, I called that game, and it was exhilarating, just the level of focus between both sides and how there was such a high level of execution, but that environment matters, and we are feeling that here tonight at Mohegan Sun.
Dowsey fouled by Juhas. Just the first foul on UConn. How about this? Last night of the semifinal, Maddie Siegrist had 37 points. The rest of the team 26. So far tonight, she has 0 of the team's 6.
Even a situation like that, though, you see 2 players collapse on Siegrist, and that's what's going to be interesting to watch throughout the course of this game. What type of coverages does UConn throw at her? Do they send doubles? Will they play any bit of a zone.
Olsen pushing, rejected out of bounds by Griffin.
Lucy Olsen is on the attack. Tries to split the defender. Big time block by Aubrey Griffin. X factor for this Huskies group, not only in how she can score and her versatility, but the defender that she is on this side of the floor.
Shot clock did not reset. 15 on the timer. Burke. Dowsey, another offensive rebound. And then sent back by Juhas. It'll stay here.
Say this much, Wildcats are doing an excellent job in their attack on the offensive glass. They've been less concerned about getting back and have been very precise on how they're continuing to move and find ways to get some second chance looks. They've not been able to capitalize quite as much, but still keeping possession is important.
Olsen drew contact and the call comes in from Karen Prato. And it'll be 2 shots coming.
Some trips to the free throw line for both teams. And Matt, both coaches have talked about this. You know, in any scenario when you're playing a championship game, it's going to get chippy, it's going to get physical. You need to be ready for that. But in particular, when you play UConn, they will come at you. And that's not just on the inside in the post. It's the perimeter, the way they pressure the basketball, getting in passing lanes. And it's something that Villanova will not only need to withstand, but also match as well.
Griffin had it poked away. Stayed with it, but traveled.
Ooh, quick help by Maddie Burke coming over in the post. You see Lucy Olsen trying to do her best. Travel call off that play. We've been seeing a lot of doubling and a second coming over by Villanova when UConn gets it on the inside.
And an offensive foul against Villanova, the team's 4th foul of the quarter.
Maddie Segrist, she's trying to create some space to be able to have an entry pass, and Aaliyah Edwards has been doing an excellent job in denial regardless of where she's at on the floor.
Here is the most improved player in the Big East, Aaliyah Edwards. Gives it up to Juhas for 3. Villanova just 3 of 13 shooting to start the ball game. Good rebound attempt by Runyon. And we will step aside. UConn with an early lead. Villanova hanging tough despite the shooting woes in the first quarter. A 4-point deficit for the Villanova Wildcats. Less than 5 minutes to play in the opening quarter of our Big East Tournament Championship final. As we go inside the huddle with Denise Dillon. Check that. We're going to wait a second as the officials are taking a look at the monitor. Here is what they are looking at. I believe they might be checking if Dorka Juhas actually was behind the line there. It was called a 3 on the floor. Tough to see from that angle.
Yeah, Dowsey was blocking her foot, but that first angle looked like her toe may have been on the line.
Even there, it's almost too hard to tell if her shoe was actually on the line or behind it.
All tough to say. That one looked behind.
Not enough to overturn, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So it'll stay a 3-pointer, and thus a 4-point lead for UConn. Honestly, it's remarkable considering UConn only has a 4-point lead and Villanova has struggled so much offensively. No points yet for Segrist, and she changes that out of the timeout.
On cue, Matt. A nice inbounds pass there, play for Villanova to get her the basketball, allow her to work with that real estate inside.
Just the second made field goal in the last 8 attempts for Villanova. Lopez Seneschal had it jarred loose. Runyon on the floor. Olsen to Dowsey, who has 6 early points for the Wildcats.
Excellent poise by Dowsey to let Edwards go by her, but overall that break was run like a clinic by Villanova. Everyone filling gaps and lanes.
And an offensive foul against UConn.
And so right now, Villanova has taken 16 shots. UConn has taken 6. There's a big discrepancy. A lot of that is the offensive rebounding. We talk about the struggles in efficiency for the Wildcats, but they continue to attack, and they've gotten these opportunities.
7 offensive rebounds for Villanova. No second chance points, though. Deep post touch, and Edwards goes right into the chest of Segrist.
Getting her work done before the catch. It's that deep of a seal for Aaliyah Edwards as she gets it inside, allows her to have that quick turnaround.
Felt like that was the key for her and Juhas last night against Marquette. A turnover from Runyon. Easy Fudd, fresh onto the floor. Burke a 3. Dowsey, 3 seconds. The 8th offensive rebound, and yet Villanova has not been able to find a way to capitalize on any of them just yet.
And still, though, that's something you got to build on. Salud Lopez Seneschal laboring a little bit as she walked to the end of the bench. It looked like she was limping some as she's taken off her shoelace on the left foot.
She's one of just very few players for UConn this year that hasn't missed time due to injury as Edwards rolls right to the cup.
And there's your other one, taking advantage. Everyone's cleared out. The defense is staying attached to the perimeter, and because of it, Edwards could put it on the deck.
Going off back-to-back double-doubles in the quarterfinal and the semis. Runyon. And the shooting woes from downtown continue for Villanova, now 0 of 8 from beyond the arc.
What UConn has done a really nice job is in some ways stagnating the Villanova offense. And Denise Dillon talked about us at shooter. I said, we know that UConn's not going to allow us to get into our stuff. They'll get into bodies. They don't allow you to move quite as much as you want to, whether that's cutting, whether that's screen setting. And we're seeing a lot of that early on.
Caroline Ducharme on the floor for the first time tonight for UConn. This team with 10 active players for just the 4th time since the season opener tonight. And another offensive rebound, the 9th. Mule, blow by and stripped by Burke. And it goes back to Villanova.
A couple nice defensive plays on both sides. The crowd doesn't like the lack of a call off that one, but quick hands by Villanova as you see it here. Mule, the blow by, the tuck, and just lose it is off that play. Burke does a nice job at moving her feet, staying in front. Whew, that's a stare down by Mule. Do not get in her way.
Juhas stepping through, counted in the foul.
So we could talk a lot about all the players in this lineup for UConn, but Dorka Juhas is one of the most unique in her skill set she brings to the table. We've already seen her knock down a 3-point shot, and look at her there, her poise at the end of the catch in traffic. She's able to use her steps, the length, to be able to create space, finish at the rim, get an and one shot. Her size is something that she can exploit Villanova with, and the size of UConn is always something that is a challenge for any opponent. But when you look across the lineup, it's not only about being able to post, it's the different areas on the floor they can come at you with multiple players.
Uhas at 6'5", the tallest player on the floor tonight for Villanova, 6'2". Segrist. And another offensive rebound from Olbrys that time. Olsen finally pays one off. The first two second chance points of the night for Villanova.
Tough take by Olsen. They're going to need it. You saw that first miss with Segrist. She's able to split the defenders, but she's got two on her anytime she gets a catch.
10 offensive rebounds in the first quarter for Villanova, none for UConn, in spite of the height disparity.
AZ Fudd's third game back, returning from after re-injuring that knee. I know the accuracy is not something we've seen out of her like we're accustomed to, but it looks good. She's got to continue taking those shots.
Segrist. Now 1 of 7 to start the game. And that ends the first quarter. It was physical. And in spite of the shooting woes, just 24% for Villanova. They are within 2 possessions.
This place is rocking here at Mohegan Sun, and these teams came to play high level of intensity. Great compete. We got a close one heading in the second quarter. UConn up by 5.
As we welcome you back inside Mohegan Sun Arena for the Big East Women's Basketball Tournament Championship between UConn and Villanova. Not many people have been able to contain Maddie Segrist this year. In fact, she scored 20 points or more in all 33 games coming into tonight. It's something, though, Sarah, that UConn was able to do last year in the championship game, holding her to 16 points.
They can throw a lot of different things at an individual like Segrist, and take a look at where her shots are coming from, different areas on the floor. But what is she seeing? She's seeing a double, but where it's coming from different places. Every time off the catch, she's got to think, and she's created well. She's still been able to get off some good shots, but sometimes when you're sped up, it's not quite as easy to have that type of consistency to see it go through.
Segrist off the bounce and off the back iron.
And add in big, quick, athletic, physical, smart bodies. There's multiple players like that on the UConn defensive side.
Segrist had 20 points in the first half last night against Creighton. She's 1 for 8 to start the game tonight. As Ducharme puts in a deep 2. Good to see her back, fighting her stroke. Missed 13 games with a concussion, went down in the first game of this tournament for UConn and returned yesterday. Finally, the first 3 of the game for Villanova, and it's Caitlin Oriole.
That was a good-looking stroke, and she's shooting nearly 37% from the three-point line that season, but that's what's got to happen. There has got to be catch-and-shoot threats on the floor for Villanova aside from just Segrist and Olsen.
Ducharme jarred loose. Here comes Oriole. Segrist a deep 3. Back-to-back triples for the Wildcats.
And a fist pump from Segrist. She was surveying the floor and realized that Ducharme's hands were down, had a little space. Great looking stroke.
Start of the game 0 for 10. Edwards trying to fight for the offensive rebound, wins it back for UConn.
And watch Segrist's eyes. So she's pump faking, realizes there's some room, knocks down the shot over Ducharme. And as a scorer, as a shooter, Matt, you see one go through and all of a sudden the basket gets bigger. For Segrist, that's all a part of it. There's stretches the shots aren't going to go through, but she's someone that's going to keep taking those shots and keep being aggressive and looking for them.
She told us she tries not to show too much emotion, wants to be even-keeled for her teammates. After starting the game 1 for 7, that one had to feel pretty good.
Maddie, it's a championship game, girl. You show whatever you want.
Dowsey draws a foul, and it goes against AZ Fudd.
We talked about coming in, the experience for both of these teams, obviously, but having been here last season. But this environment is raucous. This is incredible. And sometimes it takes a little bit, whether it's excitement, nerves, adrenaline, anxiousness.
Easy fun, draws a turnover. Gives it back to UConn. Fourth turnover of the first half for a Villanova team that hasn't turned it over more than 8 times in a game in this tournament. Juhas rejected by Dowsey. Give it back to the Cats.
Christina Dowsey with the big-time block. She has a single-season record for blocks for Villanova, already with 74 in the tracking, the timing. That's part of her growth as a sophomore. How can you still get those blocks, move your feet, but keep it clean? Excellent job on that positioning.
Segrist over the double team. How about the hook shot?
Matt, throughout the entirety of the season, she's seen double teams, she's seen triple teams, but now she's starting to catch a little bit of a rhythm and a flow.
Run for Villanova. Fudd with 5. Juhas. Rebound Dowsey. Mullen a 3.
That's a great block out by Aubrey Griffin. Segrist was trying to attack and pick up that offensive rebound, and Griffin does a great job in finding a body.
Well, good news for UConn. Lopez Seneschal coming back onto the floor after she hobbled off before that first media timeout. We received word that she just had her ankle retaped, and she's good to go.
Yeah, exactly what you want to see if you're Gino Auriemma and this Huskies team. We talked about all areas of the game that she impacts, and someone that has been durable and consistent for this Huskies team.
Had 7 points in the first 7 minutes. Edwards just too easy off the bump, and Edwards has 6 points. Olsen. And the rebound, Edwards. Mule the pull-up. Edwards another rebound. Lopez Seneschal gets a third opportunity and draws a foul on Dowsey, her second.
So after we were talking about the offensive rebounding of Villanova early on, UConn has had a much better effort in making sure they're boxing out, finding bodies, securing the defensive glass, and offensively they're getting after it as well. They have been on the attack, picking up some extra opportunities for themselves. Rebounding was a point of emphasis by Villanova head coach Denise Dillon. Her team was out rebounded by 22 in the last meeting. They're +4 so far in the game. How about Edwards? 8 points, 7 rebounds, still 5 minutes and change left in the first half. And that's why she is such a tough matchup, because what was she doing the last couple catches and possessions? Putting it on the floor, getting to the rim. And that time when you give her some space because you're protecting for the drive, she can knock down the 15-footer. Olsen backing down Mule. And the rebound by the 6'5" Juhas. Mule lost it out of bounds. Well defended by Megan Obrys. Obrys beat her to the spot. She cut her off. She knew what Nika Mule was looking for, and does a nice job here helping out her teammate. Maddie Burke gets beat, but Obrys is right there to protect. 7th UConn turnover. They haven't had more than 13 in a game in this tournament. A little bit more intensity on the defensive end of the floor for both teams. It'll stay with Villanova when we return. Cats on a 2.5-minute scoring drought, but they trail
the top team in the conference by just 3. UConn coming off another regular season Big East championship, but it was not easy to get to this point. Ranked 6th in the preseason poll, but then Paige Beckers, top freshman Ice Brady, they go down for the season with injuries. UConn, though, continued to roll. 3 top 10 wins in their first 5. But then the injuries started to pile up as the season went along. They lost back-to-back games for the first time in 2 decades. Lost to unranked teams St. John's and Marquette in the conference for the first time in a decade, losing 2 conference games. Gino Auriemma told us that if they're able to win this tournament championship tonight, Sarah, it might be the most difficult journey to a title in his time as the head coach at UConn, and this is why.
You look at the injuries. I mean, Paige Becker, former National Player of the Year. You got an All-American there, the top 5 recruit in Ice Brady, who got injured before the season even started. You think about the time that AZ Fudd was out, another All-American, and everyone else had certain stretches of missing time, and it had a handful of UConn games this season. And Coach Auriemma said this has been one of the most challenging seasons, but also there is such a appreciation for the resiliency.
How about the resilience of Maddie Siegrist? She started the game 3 of 10. To 9 points. The Villanova team that has won 19 of 21 coming in. Their 2 losses, though, to this UConn team by single digits.
And it's all about settling in. We're seeing Siegrist settle in, but also the rest of the teammates. There's a good tempo to how they're playing.
Olsen, backdoor, Siegrist too heavy.
And that's a beautiful play, because Aubrey Griffin was face guarding Siegrist, didn't even see the pass coming.
Good post feed inside to Juhas. What positioning by the second-year transfer from Ohio State.
Matt, the same thing you pointed out with Aaliyah Edwards. We just saw it out of Dorka Juhas. She was well inside the circle. It was the work before the catch, her ability to deep seal it, that gave her an easy look and an excellent entry pass, too.
Olsen, what a nifty move around and out. It has been that type of first half for Villanova. So many near misses for a team that's shooting less than 30% from the floor. Newell, rejected, no call. She wanted it, up ahead to Siegrist. Spinning. And the rebound, Lopez Seneschal. Look at Newell a little bit fired up after that no call.
She's been fired up this whole game. I think Nika Newell steps on the court fired up.
Edwards draws a foul on Megan Olbreeze. Coming up on the Jeep halftime report, we will have first half stats and highlights from tonight's final. Stick around for the next 3 minutes plus. 2:52 left in the first half. And a 3-point game. As Aubrey Griffin comes out, AZ Fudd back in the game. Meanwhile, we've received word that Caroline Ducharme is on the bench, or off the bench rather, with ice on her head. We will keep you abreast of that situation. Remember, she missed 13 games in the regular season with a concussion. It took a big knock to the head in the quarterfinal game. Had to come out at the halfway point.
That's significant. And for her as a human being and for her overall health, concussions are very serious.
And a travel for Lucy Olsen. 5th turnover on Villanova.
Once again, double as the ball starts to enter the post. You got Juhas and Newell doing a great job in the collapse and really shrinking the space that Olsen has to operate with. There you see Caroline Ducharme. The ice on the back of her head.
And you just feel for Caroline Ducharme because she has had a long road of injuries in 2 seasons in stores. Hoping she can get healthy for the NCAA tournament as Edwards goes down. And that's the 3rd team foul on Villanova. Timeout on the floor. 5-point lead for UConn. Timeout taken by Denise Dillon. Her team won for its last 7. But surely you've got to feel pretty confident considering how poorly they've shot the basketball and how close this game is.
And they're creating really quality shots, so I think that's something to be said for how they should feel at this point as they try and close out the second quarter. But on the flip side of things for UConn, it's been a little bit of everyone, a lot of balance, but in particular, Aaliyah Edwards has just been a beast. We talked about her in the open, the multiple ways she can score, and it has been on full display here in this first half. Deep positioning in the post, back to the basket. This time puts it on the deck, able to penetrate, and she's going at anyone who is in front of her. Segrist has spent a lot of time with that assignment, but she's also had some mismatches. And look at the quickness. Straight line drive. Aaliyah Edwards has been really smart and decisive about what she does with the ball in her hands.
Nearing a double-double in the first half. Turns it over, though, to Maddie Burke. Side of the rim. Villanova now 10 for 37 from the floor.
Important couple minutes. Is UConn going to be able to push this to double digits? Will Villanova cut into the deficit?
Mullen tagged with her first, the 4th on the team. One more. Villanova sends UConn into the bonus.
And Mullen trying to face guard Lou Lopez Seneschal, but you see right there the body get tangled up. You talk to Gino Auriemma and anyone else. Lopez Seneschal has had players and defenders hanging on her the entirety of this season.
Offensive foul gives it back to Villanova. And it goes against Azzi Fudd. And that is her second.
Let's see what happens here. Fudd trying to cut, create a little space. And there's just a little bit of a body and a shove off there on Olsen. And for Azzi Fudd, I said this earlier, the amount of time she's missed, she's reacclimating herself, getting herself back, and things always take a little bit of time. The fact that she's able to get game action, try and find a rhythm, get some of the rust off, I think is really important as you look at this team heading into the NCAA tournament.
Oriole took too many steps. You're right, Sarah. Azzi Fudd only played 9 regular season games. She missed 22 of the 24 coming into this tournament. And Gino told us, look, do I think she's a little bit tentative, a little bit cautious? Yes, that's to be expected. But just having her on the floor, confidence for our team, and it forces the opponent to always know where she is.
You have to respect her. She has got gravity on the floor because she could start pouring in buckets at any moment.
Down to Edwards, who has been a bucket in this tournament. Give her 12 in the first half. 6-0 UConn run. Villanova going on 4 minutes without a score. And another turnover off the hands of Olbreeze.
UConn knows who they need to feed because on the inside, Aaliyah Edwards has been making Villanova pay. Nika Mule, the nice little bounce entry pass. I mean, you don't pass Sue Bird to become UConn's single-season assist leader. You not only don't know how to feed it, but who to feed the basketball to. And Mule has been excellent with her precision and where she's getting her teammates the ball.
A 15-second differential between game and shot clock here. Backdoor cut. Lopez Seneschal lays it in. Final 15 seconds of the half. Olsen rims out the runner. Rebound Juhas. And a whistle before the buzzer. And if it's a foul, UConn will get free throws. Officials are going to check the monitor here. But by the naked eye and my ear, it sounded like that whistle came before the buzzer.
Agreed. Agreed. We'll have to wait and see once it goes under review.
replay. It sounds like Villanova did foul before the shot clock, or before the game clock expired, rather. They have put 1 second back on the timer. And Nika Mule's headed to the free throw line. Man, what a turn of events here over the last few minutes, particularly since Lopez Seneschal's return. UConn's gone on a 12-2 run.
She had such an element of movement, and we've seen that out of not just the ball movement by UConn, but the spacing and the body movement.
Mule, a 75% free throw shooter. Made the second. UConn will take their largest lead of the game into the half, a 13-2 run to end the first half.
And they were clicking on all cylinders on the offensive end, also getting some more stops that allowed them to get runouts, flow into early offense, a whole lot more fluidity, and we saw it with their connectivity at that end of the floor.
Kim is standing by with Gino Auriemma.
Coach, you've held Villanova to about 25% shooting in the opening 20 minutes. What has happened on that end of the floor to allow them to feel uncomfortable?
Well, I think we're working really hard at it. They may be as hard a team in the country as there is to guard. So, you know, it's just a lot of hard work and a lot of communication. And it's only 20 minutes, though. You know, a lot can happen in the next 20. But I think we came out of that 20 with exactly what we wanted.
And you continue to get production inside from Aaliyah Edwards and Dorka Juhas. Anything more you'd like to see from your perimeter players to complement that?
Well, the reason those guys are getting so much of that is because of how hard they're playing the guys on the perimeter. So if we can keep moving like we did when Lou got that layup, you know, I think that's going to free up our perimeter guys, but it's also going to give our big guys even more opportunities to get to the basket.
All right, we appreciate the time, Coach. Matt?
Thank you, Coach. Thank you, Kim. He's got to be pretty pleased with as tight as this game was early, how UConn has pulled away and how they have clamped down on Maddie Siegrist.
Yeah, I mean, 4-13 from the field. She is normally an individual that has such a high level of efficiency, and they've made all of her shots tightly contested, very challenging, sending 2 players at her. She caught a little bit of a rhythm there for a while towards the second quarter, but it's something to absolutely keep an eye on here as we head into the second half.
Started the game 1 for 10. Meanwhile, Aaliyah Edwards 1 rebound away from a double-double. The top 2 seeds in the conference, 2 top 10 teams in the country, battling it out for a conference crown. The Big East regular season champion UConn Huskies on top by 10 at the half as we check in with the third member of our team, Kim Adams.
Thanks, Matt. Well, I caught up with Villanova head coach Denise Dillon. 20 points between Aaliyah Edwards and Dorka Juhas. She said our post defense is killing them. She wants her players to do a better job of beating them to the spot and contesting the shots. And then offensively, she said, we're not moving the ball. We're trying to make too many individual plays. So more ball movement, more patience on offense. Just 4 assists in the first half for this Villanova team that averages 17 per game, Matt and Sarah.
Kim, that's such a great point, because that's exactly what Gino Auriemma told us today. What makes this Villanova team so difficult to guard, Sarah? How much they move without the basketball.
And we haven't seen a lot of that. And that circles back to the point, if you look at the shot selection and the shot profile of Villanova there in the first half, and 2 of 13 from the three-point line. A lot of those three-point shots just came off of a couple dribbles, putting it up. There wasn't a lot of shifting and rotating the defense and getting it to the second side for UConn, but that's also a part of the game plan for the Huskies and a part of how UConn forces you into play.
Villanova ended the first half on a 4.5-minute scoring drought. UConn took a 13-2 run into the halftime locker room. 10 on the timer for the Cats. 5 to shoot. Mullen with 3. Puts puts it in. What a tough shot at the end of the shot clock to end the drought.
Well, and Mullen makes a nice play off of that possession, but again, you see UConn, they're denying at every position. There was nowhere for Mullen to go off of that play. She ends up coming up with something there at the end of the shot clock.
Juhas, extra pass, Mueller rejected by Dowsey, and then a foul. And Dowsey's got to be careful because that was a major hit to the noggin, and Mueller went down hard. That is the third foul on Dowsey.
Probably could have used one more swing pass from Mueller, but it's that second play in the challenging part of that, if you're Denise Dillon, as you're trying to work and get this sophomore to understand just the capability she has as a shot blocker. She made the initial great play. It's the second play that then picks up the foul and retains possession for UConn.
Had a similar foul last night that gave Creighton an intentional foul. 2 shots at the free throw line and the basketball back as Juhas steps through right to the basket. That's what made that Villanova win over Creighton a little bit tighter than the Wildcats fans would have liked. Back to a 10-point lead for UConn, who has won 3 straight against this Villanova team, including last year's Big East Tournament Championship game. Dowsey, set back by Juhas. Up ahead, Lopez Seneschal.
That pass was perfection.
Largest lead of the night for the Huskies. Step back from Olsen.
Villanova's in some danger zone with how UConn is playing right now and turning a lot of defense to offense. Big time block by Juhas, and watch Lopez Seneschal running that right wing. Nika Mule catches her in stride. Easy basket on the break. And UConn's starting to pour it on.
Let's get the sense in this game, in this building. The Cats need a couple stops and a couple buckets, something that was hard to come by in the first half. UConn shot at 52% to the Cats 27 from the floor.
And a part of that, too, is we have continued to talk about, there was a lot of misses. There was also a lot of offensive rebounds for Villanova. We haven't seen as much of that.
Mullen draws a foul after Sagers coughed it up. Lucky play there for the Cats. Sometimes it takes that to get back on the right side of things in a game where you're down 12 to the number 7 team in the country and the top seed in this tournament. Olsen over Juhas and draws a foul. 2 shots coming for Lucy Olsen.
Strong take by Lucy Olsen. You like the fact that she's going right at Juhas. The arm gets the left forearm of Olsen off that play. I even think she too had the left arm on her right shoulder a little bit as she was driving. But there's an example. I mean, 2 of 11 up from the field for Lucy Olsen. You kind of go down the lineup for Villanova. There's a lot of that. Kim Adams talked about what Denise Dillon said in terms of ball movement and the assist numbers for a Wildcats team that normally is high in that area. Another area is the turnovers. They're second in the nation with fewest turnovers, 8.8 per game, and they already have 7.
Mueller, tough take.
Post defense isn't just about post players. It's about rim protection, too.
Maddie Siegrist on the board in the second half. She had 9 on 4 of 13 in the first half, and the nation's leading scorer now in double figures. Can she get hot in this final half? Juhas off the shuffle from Fudd.
There's an example, Matt, of what you talked about in the first half of, regardless of AZ Fudd making or missing shots, you know she's always a threat to, so she draws in and attracts 2 defenders, easy dump off, beautiful play creation by Fudd.
I don't think we've seen a point in the second half of UConn that hasn't been in the paint, which is exactly what Denise Dillon wanted her team to defend against. Coming out of the halftime locker room. Olsen. And now Villanova just 2 of 15 from distance. Mule, the lob. Edwards pays it off. Timeout, Villanova.
The passing has been beautiful for the UConn Huskies, and all the plays are developing thanks to organization by these point guards. Nika Mule over the top, Edwards on the run. Another fast break point for the Huskies, up by 15.
About this diehard UConn fan here. AZ Fudd 35, UConn painted on the other side of the dome, and it's a 15-point lead for the top seed in the conference, their largest lead of the game. And Dorka Juhas has done a little bit of everything in this game for the Huskies.
Yeah, speaking of AZ Fudd, take a look at this two-man game between Fudd and Juhas. Little pass, handoff, and Dorka Juhas allows for AZ Fudd to work in single coverage. As soon as Segrist has to come commit and help Olsen, what does that do? That opens up the post player. Fudd with the drop-off pass. Just a beautiful connection. Those are the wrinkles and the nuances within UConn's offense that they always have, and they have the players and the personnel to do it. But think about how much time AZ has missed other individuals, and so that's all a part of being here in March. This team's starting to peak, and you can tell they're having fun doing it.
Juhas, too. She missed 8 games this year, including the regular season finale. But tonight, UConn is plus 21 with Juhas on the floor. They have outscored Villanova 10-2 in the paint in this quarter. Fudd a 3. Yes, sir!
Uh-oh. When those start going down for AZ Fudd, who in her freshman year shot 43% from 3. Tough, tough matchup.
Picked off by Fudd. And then scooped back up by Maddie Burke. She's got to go quickly here. 5 on the timer for Villanova. Poked away by Fudd, and this time she comes away with it. Juhas, the kick out, and a fresh 20. A 7-0 run for the Huskies. Edwards. Contact and a defensive foul. And 2 shots coming for Edwards.
AZ Fudd, we showed her dishing, and now we show her swishing. Knocks down a 3-point shot, extends this lead to 18.
Largest lead of the game for the Huskies at 18, and what a tournament for the most improved player in the Big East. Aaliyah Edwards, now 3 straight double-doubles, Sarah Kustok, capping off a terrific season.
You look at those numbers, and doing it against big-time opponents. As, of course, you see there what she was able to do in the semifinal against Marquette. 20 points, 12 rebounds, and just the importance of her presence on this UConn team. And you can look at the points, you can look at the rebounds. It's a lot of the little things, too, what she brings to the table on the defensive side. She's been matched up a ton with Maddie Segrist as well. And so it's those type of things that, you know, you can look at the box score and say, wow, Aaliyah Edwards is having a big-time night and does so over and over again. But I also think it is some of the small things. And there's stretches throughout the course of the season. You think about all of these individuals, just the mental, emotional, and physical toll it takes on you when you are playing shorthanded a lot, when you are dealing with injuries and different players in and out of the lineup. So a lot of credit goes to her for that and just the consistency of which she showed up.
They played most of January with 8 or fewer players. 4 times this season they've had 7 available. Both times they played Villanova in the regular season, they played with 6. And yet they just continued to find ways to win. And ultimately picked up their 10th consecutive conference regular season crown. And now they're looking for 3 straight Big East tournament crowns since returning from the American Conference. And another rebound on a double-double effort night for Edwards. Fudd in transition. Buries a 3.
big smile on her face, and that's what you love to see, starting to get some of that comfort level back. Imagine, too, just there is nothing that can simulate game action, let alone Big East tournament game action.
Dalsey fighting for the offensive rebound.
So part of it's game conditioning, getting your legs back, getting the feel for the timing and for the movements.
Olsen trying to wiggle free. Late in the shot clock again. Skip pass. Oriole sent out of bounds by Ducharme.
AZ Fudd. She had hit her last three from just about that same spot. Knocks down another. And who found her? Nika Mule, who has been facilitating all night. And Caroline Ducharme coming over. That was an excellent defensive play. It's not easy blocking a perimeter shot.
Good to see Ducharme back on the floor. Remember, we saw her in the first half on the bench with ice on the back of her head. This UConn team just rounding into form at the right time like they always seem to do. There is something about UConn in March. Multiple coaches talked to us about it at this tournament. And Gino himself brought it up to us at the shoot-around today, saying we just have a level of confidence that's a bit different when the calendar turns to March.
There's an expectation. I know we've been talking about their real resiliency they showed a lot throughout the course of the season, but when you come to UConn, there's an expectation.
14-0 run.
And that is not in any way to discredit what Villanova has put together this season. This is the now 10th ranked team in the country, the Wildcats are.
Siegrist makes another tough shot. She's up to 13, but they made it really tough for the nation's leading scorer, who has scored at least 20 points in all 33 games this season.
And Matt, you said this earlier, in the championship game of the Big East tournament last year, UConn held Maddie Siegrist to 16 points, 1 rebound.
UConn has been unstoppable in the paint. 34 points. And Siegrist draws a foul on Mule.
And there's a couple challenging things. One, when you're not making shots on one end, it doesn't allow you necessarily to get back and set up in your half-court defense. So UConn has been looking to push off of those misses. They're running the floor well, filling the lanes, making sure that they're looking for some of that early offense that has been so fluid, and they've got weapons across all 5 players on the floor. And that can be deflating for a team when you're not making shots and then you're not getting shot stops.
That was a bucket that has been so needed in this game for Villanova. Now 3 of 19 from distance. And the first made shot of the night for Maddie Burke. First-year transfer from Penn State. Ducharme. Rebound Dalsey. Edwards down behind the play, so is Fudd. Major numbers for the Cats. Mullen pays it off.
Nice little push here by Villanova, knocking down 2 3-point shots. Part of what they need to do on top of getting stops is play it at a quick pace. Some of those quick-looking 3-point shots that are starting to go through certainly help.
Lopez Seneschal draws a foul on the drive.
Little handoff play here. Maddie Burks, that's what she does. Nearly 40% from 3-point this season for Burke. And then that time, a nice shot by Mullen as she does a great job just setting herself up, feet set, catch and shoot. And if you're Villanova, you're going to need to see more of that. And a lot of that comes from penetration and kick, too.
14 foul on Villanova. Fudd. Give her 3 from downtown. And a foul underneath goes against UConn. The return of AZ Fudd in the finals Going pretty well for UConn.
What a beautiful sight to see from the wing. She had a couple from the left, this time the right side. The bench loves it. You know the enthusiasm they have to see her back on the floor. And I keep circling back to it as you take a look at AZ Fudd's parents. Nika Mueller has done an excellent job in understanding who and when to get the ball to.
8 assists in the game for Mueller. Quick 2 for Villanova. They've made now 4 of their last 5. 20-point game, final minute of the third quarter. And that is the 5th team foul on Villanova, the 3rd on Brooke Mullen. And so Lou Lopez Seneschal will head to the free throw line. Bella Runyon comes on for Brooke Mullen. Lopez Seneschal, 13 points on 5 of 6. Now 14. Sat for 5 minutes in the first half, having to get her foot retaped. And for more on Lou Lopez Seneschal, the first-year transfer from Fairfield, let's send it to Kim Adams.
Yeah, Matt. Lou Lopez Seneschal played 4 years at Fairfield out of the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference. She went to watch UConn's Elite 8 game last year just as a fan of basketball, a fan of UConn in nearby Bridgeport. And then just a few days later, she was in the transfer portal and got an email out of the blue from assistant coach Morgan Valley. She couldn't believe that UConn was reaching out to her. A couple more calls ensued, Zooms with her parents in France. And sure enough, she has ended up UConn. She was not expecting this type of role, but due to all of the injuries, it's something she's embraced and stepped into, and it was something she was comfortable doing in her role at Fairfield.
Great stuff, Kim. She was the Conference Player of the Year last year in her final season at Fairfield. Knew on senior night she'd be going somewhere else, just didn't know where it would be, and now she ends up on a team that is top 10 in the country and has made 14 straight Final Fours. That was the coach who reached out to her in the transfer portal, Morgan Valley. And she picked up a good one in the portal for UConn.
To say the least. Her usage obviously has skyrocketed from maybe what they expected, but the production has matched it. You think about being a unanimous first-team All-Big East selection, and she has been an example of consistency, durability, and I'm going to talk about someone that's fun to watch. She plays on the ball, off the ball. She could do a little bit of everything.
Well, the officials taking a look at the monitor. There was a foul called on the floor against UConn. Dalsey walked to the free throw line. A lot of boos ringing throughout the stadium. And now the officials are taking a look at the elbow contact here. Possibly from Dalsey as Mule hit the floor. The foul was actually called on UConn. And I believe the official word here is that there was not excessive contact.
Yeah, because the first angle that was shown by our incredible truck, it looked like she hit just that left forearm of Mule a little bit, and she was turning within the course of her action to square up on the basket.
Dalsey, just the 2nd Villanova player to shoot free throws tonight. The only other is Olsen. Lucy Olsen, 3 of 4 from the line. Rebound Segrist, but a foul against Oriole, sending Edwards to the floor. And now the shot clock will be turned off. Edwards pointing to the floor, saying you need to wipe that down. She's played tough tonight. She will be headed to the free throw line as both teams are in the bonus the rest of the way in this quarter. And what a night for Leah Edwards. Frankly, what a tournament for the Big East Most Improved Player of the Year. 16 points, 13 rebounds in her 3rd consecutive double-double of this tournament.
And she's done, I mean, to look at where she's getting her shots from as well. Knocked down that 3-point shot from the corner, but look at that perfect 6 of 6 from inside the circle. And she was pretty much positioning herself right underneath the basket. Saw the same thing from Dorka Juhas doing that. To have both of those players complement one another, how they can pass, you can run the offense through them, they can put it on the deck, also stretch you out from three, and then their ability with their footwork and their skill set to play with their back to the basket. Woo-wee. Matt.
Gino told us their team's success in March would be largely hinging on the performance of those two, Juhas and Edwards. Final 5 seconds of the quarter. Olsen with 3. Olsen with 2. And off the front of the rim. UConn on 56% shooting takes a 61-39 lead into the final frame of our conference tournament final. Huskies looking for a three-peat since their return to the Big East Conference. This UConn offense and frankly their defense, both things of beauty, both orchestrated by not only their back-to-back defensive player of the year in the Big East, but also their leading assister, who earlier this year broke the single season record for assists.
Man, to pass Sue Bird in anything says something, but you can see by the beauty of these passes, the angles, the timing, hitting teammates in stride off the break. She knows exactly where to put it, and also finding the hot hand. There was a couple possessions making sure to get it back to Fudd after she knocked down some three-point shots. That is all about controlling the tempo of the game. Nika Mule has done just that. 8 of UConn's 13 assists here on the night.
Broke Sue Bird's record that stood for over 2 decades. And after she broke the record, she got an unexpected FaceTime call from an unknown number. Guess who? Sue Bird.
Get out of here.
To congratulate.
Oh, Sue is the best.
Nika Mule.
She is the best. One of one player, one of one human being.
You saw it on that last graphic. The best assisters in program history. Nika Mule, part of a who's who of UConn guards, dating back many, many years under the legendary head coach Gino Auriemma. Start of the 4th quarter. And Maddie Siegrist has had challenging matchups all night long. UConn has swarmed her. The nation's leading scorer, who's averaging nearly 30 points per game, has been held to 15.